Have you ever quietly wondered, late at night, whether you are lasting long enough, or whether what you experience in the bedroom is normal at all? You are not alone, and more importantly, you are not broken. One of the greatest sources of anxiety for modern men is the silent comparison game fueled by social media, exaggerated stories, and unrealistic adult content. Today, we are going to ground ourselves in science, clarity, and calm confidence. We are going to answer one powerful question. How long should a man really last? Not based on myths, not based on locker room talk, but based on measurable clinical data that has been carefully studied. In medical science, researchers use a term called intravaginal ejaculation latency time, or IELT, which simply measures the time between penetration and ejaculation. Multiple large international studies have shown that the average ILT for men is approximately 5 to 7 minutes. That is the statistical average, meaning half of men last less than that and half last longer. Clinically, lasting around 1 to 3 minutes is still considered within a normal range, while a consistent ILT of less than about 1 minute may be categorized as premature ejaculation, especially if it causes distress. This is critical because the definition is not just about time, it is about control and emotional impact. Many respected physicians, including Dr. Mohit Khera, emphasize that sexual health is deeply connected to overall health, emotional well-being, and realistic expectations. When men compare themselves to edited videos that show exaggerated endurance lasting 20, 30, or even 40 minutes, they begin to believe something is wrong with them. The truth is that those portrayals are often scripted, delayed, chemically assisted, or selectively edited. Real human physiology does not operate like a movie set. Your body responds to arousal, nerve sensitivity, stress hormones, cardiovascular conditioning, and psychological state. The sympathetic nervous system, which activates during stress and excitement, can accelerate climax when anxiety is high. That means the more you worry about lasting longer, the more difficult it can become. This is not weakness, it is biology. Blood flow, hormone balance, and nerve signaling all play a role. Testosterone supports libido, but endurance is influenced by conditioning, mental focus, pelvic floor strength, and relaxation control. When we understand the science, we remove shame. When we remove shame, we regain power. Instead of asking, "Am I good enough?" a better question becomes, "How can I improve my health, my control, and my confidence step by step?" The first breakthrough is realizing that you are likely much closer to normal than you think. The second breakthrough is understanding that improvement is possible, realistic, and measurable when approached with patience and knowledge. And as we continue, you may be surprised to discover what truly determines endurance, because the answer is not what most men expect. Now, here is where things become truly interesting, because most men assume endurance is purely a physical issue, when in reality it is deeply intertwined with the brain. The greatest sexual organ in the male body is not the penis, it is the mind. Scientific research in sexual medicine consistently shows that performance anxiety is one of the strongest predictors of shorter intravaginal ejaculation latency time. When the brain perceives pressure, it activates stress pathways, increasing adrenaline and stimulating the sympathetic nervous system. That heightened arousal shortens the pathway to climax. In simple terms, the more you rush internally, the faster your body responds externally. This is why men who feel relaxed, emotionally safe, and confident often experience greater control without using any medication at all. Cardiovascular health also plays a powerful role. Erections depend on healthy blood vessels and strong circulation. Regular aerobic exercise improves endothelial function, enhances nitric oxide production, and supports steady blood flow, which can indirectly improve control and stamina. Strength training boosts testosterone levels modestly and increases overall confidence, which reduces performance pressure. Pelvic floor training, often called Kegel exercises for men, strengthens the muscles responsible for ejaculation control. Studies have shown that structured pelvic floor therapy can significantly improve timing and perceived control in men with premature ejaculation. Yet there is another factor many overlook: And this is where suspense builds. The modern lifestyle is quietly sabotaging male endurance. Chronic sleep deprivation lowers testosterone and increases cortisol. Excessive pornography consumption can recondition arousal pathways, making real intimacy feel overstimulating or anxiety-provoking. Poor diet, especially one high in processed sugars and unhealthy fats, contributes to inflammation and vascular dysfunction. Even constant smartphone stimulation keeps the nervous system in a hyper-alert state, making it harder to enter a relaxed, controlled sexual response. Dr. Mohit Khera often speaks about sexual health as a reflection of total health. And this perspective is empowering because it shifts the focus from quick fixes to foundational improvement. Instead of asking for a magic pill, the wiser question becomes, how can I optimize my body and mind? Deep breathing techniques before intimacy can calm the sympathetic nervous system. Mindfulness training can improve awareness of rising arousal, allowing a man to slow down rather than lose control. The start-stop method, where stimulation is paused when arousal builds too quickly, retrains neural pathways over time. Gradual desensitization and open communication with a partner reduce fear and increase trust. What most men do not realize is that improvement is not about doubling or tripling time overnight. It is about gaining consistent control, even if that means adding one extra minute at first. That small gain can transform confidence. And confidence changes everything, because when fear disappears, endurance often follows naturally. But the final piece of this puzzle goes even deeper than technique or exercise, and it may challenge what you believe about masculinity itself. The final piece of this conversation requires a shift in perspective, because the question of how long a man should last is ultimately less about minutes on a clock and more about meaning, connection, and self-mastery. Masculinity has been distorted by unrealistic standards that equate endurance with worth. Yet true confidence comes from emotional presence and control, not from chasing an exaggerated number. When you redefine success as mutual satisfaction, communication, and steady improvement, the pressure begins to dissolve. Science supports this mindset. Studies in sexual psychology show that partner satisfaction is more strongly correlated with emotional intimacy, attentiveness, and foreplay than with penetration time alone. In fact, many couples report that extended intercourse beyond a comfortable duration can even cause physical discomfort. That truth rarely appears in flashy online narratives. The real measure of sexual health is balance. Hormonal balance, cardiovascular balance, nervous system balance, and relational balance all contribute to performance. When you sleep 7 to 8 hours per night, you support testosterone production and cognitive clarity. When you maintain a diet rich in lean protein, vegetables, fruits, whole grains, and healthy fats, you reduce inflammation and improve vascular function. When you manage stress through meditation, prayer, journaling, or time outdoors, you calm the nervous system that directly influences ejaculation timing. When you limit excessive pornography and overstimulation, you allow your brain to recalibrate to realistic arousal levels. These changes are not dramatic overnight transformations, but they are powerful long-term investments. This is where wisdom matters. A mature approach understands that chasing unrealistic endurance can actually create the very anxiety that shortens performance. A healthier goal is to aim for gradual control, improved stamina, and deeper connection. If the average ILT is 5 to 7 minutes, then striving to move closer to that range through consistent training, pelvic floor strengthening, mindful breathing, and cardiovascular exercise is a realistic and achievable target. If you are already within that range, then your focus should shift from time to quality. Dr. Mohit Khera often reminds men that sexual performance reflects overall wellness, and that perspective removes shame while inspiring responsibility. Instead of asking whether you measure up to an artificial standard, ask whether you are taking care of your body, your mind, and your relationships. That is where real strength lives. When you build health from the inside out, endurance becomes a byproduct rather than an obsession. Remember, improvement is a journey, not a race against a stopwatch. You are not competing with actors or algorithms. You are investing in your own vitality. And if you are benefiting from our topics, please subscribe, like, and turn on the bell notification so you can see our new videos early.